let's do this. Hello, everybody. We are here. We are live. Apologies. Just waiting. I realised I've not got my own video on. We are here. Sorry, we're a couple of minutes late. I was just trying to get the stream software working. Yeah, my webcam does not want to work today. We got Mitch here. I'll tell you what. I'll do this and make Mitch the focus here as he's talking. So yeah, we got a bunch of people here. Who are here to talk about Avengers, the audio drama, the first episode finally coming out. Oh, there we go. We got to get on the thing as well. So I'm going to let Mitch kind of run this, since this is basically how this went. Was he said to me, "Can I do an Avengers show in your X-Men universe?" And I was like, "Hey, look, I don't have the time to do it." Like, originally he pitched it for me to do it, and I was like, "Hey, look, I don't have time to do it myself, and I don't know enough about Avengers, and I don't really have the passion enough." To put my 100% heart and soul into it like I would with X-Men. But if you want to do it, then go ahead. So we did, and here we are. So yeah, Mitch, why don't you take it from here? And just to introduce everybody who's on the call, we've got Nate Lodbrok, who was Iron Man.
Hey, what's up?
We've got Oscar Dave Meyer, who played Thor.
Greetings.
We got Lamar Richardson, who was Ant-Man.
Hey, everyone.
Ian, were you in this episode, or are you just here just to have a chat?
I'm just here as a participant.
Okay, cool. You can be the voice of the audience. Cool. Like you're doing Zach's job usually on my after shows on the Patreon. Okay, alrighty. Yeah, Mitch, I'll hand it over to you to talk about this then.
Awesome, thank you. So I guess just the first thing is I gotta say a huge thank you to the cast for just being so awesome to work with on this. This product would not have been nearly as fun or as good if you guys hadn't brought heart and love into it as much as I did. So I appreciate that so much. So I'm gonna, I guess, open it up to as a question first to my cast of like what was your first thoughts, I guess, of like, okay, the Avengers also set within this Dutton verse, like, were you thinking, oh my god, this is just going to be awful, or what?
So I'll go first if you don't mind. When I read the script, I was immediately like, okay, I need to be a part of this. I don't even care if I'm, homeless man number 7. I got to be a part of this. I've read some fan fiction that has left room for improvement, and with Mitch, I didn't see any room for improvement. It was a fantastic product. I was excited to let this X-Men universe expand out a little bit because, I mean, the Scyther audio dramas are really kind of the best name in the game right now when it's coming to fan audio dramas. So allowing it to, I mean, hey, you put together a great product, and it's great to see it expanding. And I was also really glad to see that the idea is not necessarily that, okay, this is going to be, X-Men's little brother. This is going to be Avengers in its own right. And it's going to be sticking to the original stuff. We're not just trying to mimic the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, I know I took a lot of liberties from variety of places, Earth's Mightiest, the MCU, but I really, when I opened up, those first comics, I was like, okay, how to tell this story that doesn't include the Hulk pretending to be a clown in a circus.
Oh gosh.
So I'm really glad that the thought was like, okay, I gotta get on this. What were you guys thinking as well?
Go ahead, Oscar.
Yeah, well, my first thought when I heard about the Avengers, coming out as an audio drama as well, set within the Dutton universe, I was like, oh, finally, we're gonna do Avengers. This is great because in the X-Men audio drama, they've been mentioning, oh, Stephen Strange here. They've been mentioning Tony Stark. So, we're branching out, and now we're doing the show that's, set a couple of years back along the same time when X-Men season 1 first came out. So it's within the same time period. So it's going to be great to see those classic Avenger stories play out. And so for the audience who probably listen to the X-Men audio drama, now they can hear, oh, so this is what the Avengers did at the time while the X-Men were off fighting the Phoenix or, whatever. But I was super stoked to play or to be a part of the Avengers, and even more so when Mitch was like, yeah, no, I think you would do a great Thor. And I was like, well, I am Scandinavian, so it makes sense.
I will be completely honest, it was during one of the patron chats where you had mentioned that you were Scandinavian, and I immediately went, I don't think we've ever heard a Thor with that particular accent. And that's the region. That's where he'd be coming from. And I was like, I want Oscar for Thor. Like, you were the pick.
Yeah, it was great. Even though, as you probably heard in episode 1, I did more of a classic Thor interpretation where he has the British accent and everything. But, for episode 2, when you told me, oh,
yeah,
use more of your native Scandinavian accent, I was like, okay, I've spent a lot of time trying to hide that accent, but, I can make it shine through in certain places. Where,
I mean,
where
you in this is very classic, full on, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Every animated version of Thor, this is what he sounds like this is what everybody thinks of. And I think I said this to Mitch. I think it'll throw people off a little bit that Loki isn't that, because I think everybody's used so much to British Loki that him being Scandinavian, this is interesting. But I do think it'll make you two match more as family members. If you have the same accent, because it's why would they have different accents if they grew up together? You know what I mean?
Well, it's the Jotunheim accent.
Gosh. We could still catch little bits of your Norse in, and I honestly loved that little bit of catching kind of the original accent mixed in with the more traditional, the less traditional, more traditional accent. It was a great blend.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
For sure.
I got a couple of questions here from the chat. Well, Star Wars Marvel purist saying, great intro, glad to hear. The clown show that is the MCU is encouraging him to create his own channel to pay homage to the original Marvel comics and Star Wars stories. Basically, I think he's just trashing on Disney there. But nevertheless, he said, which books are the first season of Avengers going to cover? Which stories?
Right. So these 8 episodes of season 1 are going to cover Avengers 1 through 16, which is the changing of the guard, where Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man, Giant Man, and the Wasp all bounce, and we bring on Cap's Cookie Quartet. So,
our pink slips are in the mail.
Yeah, so it's kind of a similar format to not only Earth's Mightiest Heroes, but it's a similar format to my show, my show, but also X-Men continuity, where it's the original 5 and then they all get swapped out, but 1 for a whole new team.
Right now, my only real problem is after that happens, the roster just expands. It just explodes. We get all kinds of characters who join, characters who come back, and everything. So it's been a bit of a challenge kind of planning out just a general season 2 of who's going to be here and who's not going to be. And I'm not going to say our classic Avengers aren't going to be involved in some way or form. Maybe there'll be short snippets showing what Giant Man and the Wasp are up to, or what Iron Man is battling at the time. Just little bits to kind of keep them within the world so that you know what's going on. So Nate, playing Iron Man, what'd you think?
Oh man, I remember when you sent me over the script and you're like, just read for whoever, I'm like, all right, I'll give Iron Man and Ant-Man a shot, try to do that. And I ended up only auditioning originally for Ant-Man because I didn't feel I'd be able to pull off an RDJ or anything like that for Iron Man. And I remember you coming to me and be like, weren't you going to read for Iron Man? Like, are you still planning on that? What's going on? So I did that, and then you got back to me, and I was just like, wow, I am a major introvert, and playing Tony Stark is kind of interesting. So it's been a lot of fun for sure.
Sorry, 1 second. So part of it was I already had Jarvis and I already had my Wasp. And so I just played you guys against those voices and was like, who sounds best? Who sounds like they have the better chemistry already involved? And it was you and in Seven for Iron Man and Jarvis, and it was Lamar and Elizabeth for Ant-Man and the Wasp. It just clicked. Also, the MCU did their whole thing where they just threw away the whole Iron Man bodyguard script at the end of the first Iron Man movie. That was never in the cards. Versus the comics, where Iron Man goes out of his way more than once to be like, no, I'm not him. Nope. And so I thought you brought that kind of energy that I would be looking for in the Iron Man. It wasn't until the Iron Man movie where Stark's just like, okay, yeah, I can just ditch the hell helmet. Who needs that anyway?
Yeah, you do a good job at making the character your own, Nate. I appreciate that it wasn't a rip. It didn't feel like you were trying to do somebody else's Iron Man. You were your own Iron Man.
I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, so many since 2008 have just tried to do RDJ.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Especially, it's very interesting, especially if you go back and read those older Iron Man stories. He has a complete personality change after 2008 in the comics, where it's like more of Robert Downey Jr., but in the comics before that, he was more of a serious sort of hero. Yeah, he had his quirky moments, but he was still a serious hero with a slight drinking problem, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. Absolutely. Can't wait for your Demon in the Bottle episode. Nate's just going to be slurring his words the whole time.
Got a glass of whiskey right next to me.
And I do gotta keep that in mind, because a lot of the things that happen in their individual comics do affect the Avengers comics, but not in the same way the X-Men do, because the X-Men don't have or at least at the time, a Cyclops line or a Storm line or any of that. It's so I gotta keep all of those events in mind, as well as their Avengers adventures.
Shane O'Brien in the chat says, love Nate's Iron Man, gives the good old Iron Man being a jerk to the best Iron Man.
Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so this is I like in terms of it was interesting listening to this story, because I went back and read X-Men comics, and that's my bread and butter. I haven't done that with Avengers, so it's interesting to hear this story and hear, this is kind of similar to the movie, but then it goes off in different directions, such as Iron Man obviously not having his identity revealed or stuff like that. Or the whole stuff with the trolls was super dark and eating everybody in the subway. It was kind of almost like a horror movie for a little while there with the introduction of Hulk. So that was all really fun, interesting stuff. I was like, wow, this is something that makes this truly unique and a different tone to any other Avengers thing I've seen. So
Yeah, I definitely needed the threat to make the Avengers like matter. Like the threat needed to be something large enough that it required so many heroes. And so having like part of the Trolls thing was pulled from during the first book. Thor just goes off to Asgard and to the island and he fights Loki there all by himself. And I'm like, that's not really encapsulating the whole ensemble team bit that you're trying to build here. So I brought the Trolls to New York and they eat people. I figured that's just the way this is going to roll. And I also wanted some of that body horror especially with the Hulk, of the whole literally hulking out and all that stuff. I wanted to really encapsulate that this is a big threat and it's a dangerous threat.
yeah, absolutely. And the Trolls could just be seen as like Loki's foot soldiers, which they are in a lot of ways, but it gives them something else.
Exactly. So let's turn this over to our voice for the audience here, Ian. When you first heard of this, what did you think? What did you feel like? What was going through your mind?
Okay, well, first instinct was do not compare this to the MCU. That was the big important thing, and I just listened in, and once I heard the Avengers theme, I was like, I'm sold. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. I can't wait to see where this is going. The little nod to Nat with Tony was exciting, and I can't wait to see Steve and Clint show up. It's just I'm on for the ride.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, definitely. Once we get, because episode 2 is all about Captain America and his return, which is going to my episode 2 is going to be adapted heavily from issues 3 and 4 of the Avengers.
Do you
We're
want to
skipping Space Phantom?
Yes, we are skipping Space Phantom.
Do you want to reveal who's playing him?
Absolutely. The one and only Joey Solis is going to be the voice of our Captain America. So he is bringing that native Brooklyn accent to the role, and we've gone through all of our lines for production status. All the lines are in. We are now piecing it together to turn it into the show, the episode.
I heard Joey's
all
actually
right.
helping with the editing this time as well.
Yes, Joey is taking the main audio role. I get the lines, I pick out the best takes, I do a little bit of cleanup, and then I submit it to him. He pieces it together, and he puts it into the show.
Well, having listened to his recent bonus episode of Rangers, he's very good at that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Heart of Thunder. If you have not heard Heart of Thunder yet, go listen to it. It's fantastic, and it really not only shows off his voice acting skills overall, but also his audio engineering. He knows how to put together a scene in a believable fashion and not knock you out of it at any point.
Taught me a few lessons. So
yeah. So I'm really excited to see what he brings to the whole of the Avengers.
And those of you who don't know, he is the voice of Tommy in Power Rangers. He's also the voice of Colossus in X-Men.
And Beast,
Yes, and Beast, yes.
I do have to think.
He's going to be speaking to himself at some point then, huh?
At
It's
some
going to
point.
be so awkward in Avengers versus X-Men.
Whose side am I on?
AVX is such a 2040 Mitch problem.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I'm currently writing stories from 1986. You're back in 1963. You're set during my season 1, which I started. Next year will be 10 years ago. that I started. Obviously, there was that big 3-year gap in between, but yeah, we are nowhere near AVX. Let me navigate through the 90s first, folks. Which
oh my god, yeah,
Oh,
I have. Anyway, that is a. But for B Spring being on the team, probably a season 3, mid-season 3 thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get there. Yeah. I'm going to be fast forwarding a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sticking to 8 episodes per season, so it means a lot of story is going to happen, just like as fast as I can get it to happen, so that we can. Excuse you, sir. Love my cat, but yeah. So yeah, I'm going to be like moving. Episode 3 is introducing the Fantastic Four and Doom. And then
so this is going to be kind of like a full MCU like expansion of our universe, really. Like eventually Spider-Man's going to show up, and like all the things that you guys have been wanting of the expansion of the X-Men universe. Like I started dropping hints in season 3 of the wider Marvel universe. Here you go. This is going to be the Marvel show.
Yes. All through season 1 is going to be building up the Masters of Evil, and so we're going to you're going to be introduced to the Zemos. You're going to get both the Enchantress and Executioner, Kang. I mean, we're going to get all kinds of great stuff. And then from there, 2 is we're still figuring out who our big bad's going to be. I'm going to leave a little bit for you guys to think about. And then you got
to wait till you catch up with me till you get Thanos.
Yeah, basically. And I don't know how we would even attempt to tackle the Infinity Gauntlet saga. Almost like that would be. I'd have to like really step on the gas, get caught up to you within the next couple of years in terms of our individual storylines.
It'll be at least 5 years, if not 10. I'd
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, after Infinity War, anybody trying to tackle the Infinity War Gauntlet, and the story of Thanos is going to be a tall order after what Josh Brolin brought to the table.
Yeah, there's that too. Of like, if I had to give the MCU I give the MCU a lot of credit. It's been kind of on the downhill slope for a minute, but I feel like we're going to pick back up here in a little while. But the Infinity Saga, the first 3 phases were really good and like overall, and it told a really good story. And so for us to do something that's more of the comics, but still bringing in these modernizations and this retelling that we're doing, like, it's going to take a lot of work, and we're going to have to do something that sets it apart, so we're not getting this direct 1-1 comparison of the MCU did it like this, so why is your guys like worse or something like? But again,
I
that's
think what you have is the same thing as what my show has. Is you have authenticity to the comics and going, oh yeah, that was great, but it wasn't the original intention when it was written. And when you get to the Infinity Gauntlet, you can do Adam, what's his face,
Warlock.
Warlock, and all those guys that weren't included in the movie version. And it's the same as me doing Days of Future Past. It's like, yeah, the movie was great, but it wasn't the original story.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I see in chat from Shane O'Brien, will we see Nick Fury? Yes.
Will he be the Samuel L. Jackson Nick Fury or the original Nick Fury?
He will be. I'm doing both because we have the ability to work with the retcons and everything that's happened. So we will see the original Nick Fury. He will be a much older white man. And then his son, Nick Fury Jr., will be the current head of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he will be the African American.
So you're moving up the recent comics to back then, sort of thing.
Yes, to kind of modernize all of it. I felt like it was the best way to kind of work within all the retcons and all the changes that had happened.
Yeah.
So
it's like me having Moira be at the school in season 1. It's like that makes sense, even though it wasn't invented yet. Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, I like that idea of doing it with both the Furies, and hopefully we'll be able to see Maria Hill show up. But I'm curious, will we see Agent Coulson show up in the future?
I have not planned a Coulson. I do have a Hill, and I have a Dugan, who
because they're comic characters, whereas Coulson isn't.
Yes. Coulson, like, Greg Clark just knocked Coulson out of the park. I don't feel like I could do Coulson justice, in all honesty.
But like you doing Coulson would be the same as me bringing in Morph. It's like, sure,
right?
But it's unique to that version of that universe. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, and Coulson also served kind of as the audience stand-in for that first phase, and I'm not quite sure there's as much of a need for that in this situation. Though obviously this is Mitch's ship. I'm just riding on it.
We all are.
Pizza King asks, how much influence did Earth's Mightiest Heroes have on you while you were making this drama? Well, it was the opening theme, at least.
I mean, you can't. In all honesty, you can't beat that opening theme. And so I was taking a note out of your book, Carl, of using an animated series intro to the audio drama, because you've got Declan's version of the classic 90s X-Men cartoon, sir. And so I was like, it fits, it mirrors what's going on with the other show, and it's just catchy as hell. Like, come on.
I like how you're using both, because that and the movie one are obviously both iconic. So.
Yeah, it's a better option than using the Avengers United They Stand theme.
And the movie theme, I think, actually works really good as like their battle all ready to go together theme.
Yes, exactly. Like, especially where I put it, where they were fighting Loki and they circled up. I tried to like kind of recreate that image in your head. In the same moment for the audio drama, and giving that space to that swell in the music, and letting that kind of sit, because it's not just like I have found in creating the audio drama. I have found it's not just getting all the lines to meet up. There are moments where silence or letting a sound effect or a musical thing do its thing also works. Sir, you are done. Sorry. So yeah. So that was that. Let's see here. I know there are more questions here. Adding Celestial. How do you plan on doing Captain America in the next episode? From David Deister. I hope I have said that right. This is the same like intro. You see Cap doing his thing with Bucky. They're taking on a thing. He's going to get his butt frozen and moved through time. I'm going to let the rest of that just kind of play out from there for you. But that's how he's going to kind of come in. And then, I bet.
I don't think Image is underrated. I would say for most people that it is the best Avengers show by far. Like, the problem was the same thing as Young Justice. It didn't sell toys, unfortunately. It was popular with our generation instead of the generation they wanted it to be popular for. But that's the show that got me into a lot of the Avengers lore and got me primed for the movies. Because that was such a great...
Also, wasn't it like just before the Avengers movie, and then Disney was like, oh hey, let's do a show about our 6 Avengers.
Yeah, that was such a great show. Like, it really was a great... It was exactly what this show is aiming to do, except just in a little more fast forward. But it was really, really good.
Yeah. And I realized looking back on the show, even though I didn't watch it all, it felt like an introduction to the generation they were targeting for like a build up to the movies, and like they actually introduced the Guardians of the Galaxy in the show right before the movie came out.
Right. Yes.
I remember seeing Enchantress. She was a big part of that show. I'm wondering why she was never in the movies. And
they used her in 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like that's how far they downgraded her in terms.
Wasn't
of
that her
threat.
sister though?
I thought that was Lorelai.
Oh
Yeah,
shit! Was that Laura?
Lorelai.
Oh man.
Yep.
Okay. See, even I don't remember who got used for what.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know that they won't use Enchantress later on.
How about yeah.
I mean,
for Thor 7.
Clem's was still on board.
oh man.
I mean, clarified Dominus, but he says compared to X-Men Animated Series Batman. I suppose you could say, like, I think with our generation, because I think, like, obviously those are the ones that everybody grew up on and were so big and influential. Like, you're never going to beat what you grew up on in childhood. But, you know, I think everybody who is a fan of Avengers should definitely check out X-Men Series. Like, it's made by some of the same people who made X-Men Evolution, and it has some of the same storytelling techniques, which is really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see here. As announcements go, let's see. I've talked a lot about episode 2. Episode 3, I believe I said we'll have the Fantastic Four and Doom. I have a first draft of that ready for review.
Have you cast Doom?
Yes, it has Doom. That's the big.
Have you cast him?
Oh yes, I have cast Doom.
Nice.
Shane begged for Doom, and
Shane is just gonna be all of your villains.
Well, yeah, he was supposed to play the Zemos as well. It was brought to my attention that he had a lot of the villains, so I requested. It was asked of him to step down from those Zemos, which he very graciously did. And I thank him for it. We got some other talented VAs for those roles. So we're looking forward to expanding on all of that. But yes, he is Doom. We have worked out a pretty good voice, I feel like, for him. That's different from all the other bad guys he's done. And then I've got all my Fantastic Four cast. And then after that is episode 4, which will be fallout from episode 3, dealing with the Hulk. And so we're going to get a lot of the Shield. Ross is going to be actually voiced. He'll have lines this time. I know I will be introducing him in in episode 2, but he doesn't have any lines. I just mention him. So properly voiced and everything in episode 4. So we'll need a Ross. I'll need some more Shield people. Hill being already cast, but I'll need a Dugan and a couple others.
How many? Harrison.
Do you feel like at some point you'll need to cast Betty?
I have Betty. She will also be in episode 2. She's being voiced by oh my god, her name is literally on the tip of my tongue and I cannot remember it. And I feel very, very bad about it. So please don't hurt me, Rebecca Hodges.
Rebecca Olivia. Rebecca Olivia Hodges. Yeah, she's really good. She's in a lot of our stuff.
Yes. Yeah, she's fantastic. So it'll be great to work with her going forward in the role.
Harrison Bickley in the chat said, "Listen to the episode on the way over from work earlier. It was fantastic. Congratulations on all the hard work, folks." But he also says, "Sorry, this has been asked, but how many episodes are going to be in season 1?"
8. Yes. Cool. So 8. It's plans for 8 episodes in all the seasons, just because I didn't want to spend too long on any one season. Maybe it means I have to do like some mini-sodes throughout, kind of.
So it's going to be more like an omnibus type thing, where it's like you're checking in just for the big events rather than like you know fully episodic.
Yes, I mean every episode will play off the build up everything, but yes, there's so much just I'm not going to call it filler. I don't want to insult anyone at Marvel for calling their work filler, but there is a lot of stuff that's just not. It does not update well. It doesn't modernize. Like there's the stuff with the Magia, right? Their internal mafia family that the Avengers fight, and I'm like, do the Avengers really need to get involved with organized crime? Do we? No.
Yeah, that feels like that definitely feels like something that either Daredevil, the Punisher, Luke Cage, or Iron Fist would take care of.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Or
This
Rocky.
is not an Avengers level threat.
Precisely. Exactly. Yes. So keeping that threshold has helped a lot in culling the stories that aren't necessary for the overall scheme of the series.
Yeah, I had the same approach with X-Men. Like, you know, by episode 6, we were already beating Alex. You know what I mean? Like, I skipped over a lot of just, you know, and especially as we've got to the modern seasons. As I'm getting into season 4, I'm not doing the whole, Darth Phoenix is back again. Oh, actually, he isn't. Lol, it's all a vision. Like, there's so many of those kind of issues in the 80s.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So. Yes, David. Doom is forever. I don't know if you'll like my Doom, because I will admit, I mean, I appreciate Doom for what he is, but he's a villain, and I will be playing him. I will be writing him as such. So who knows?
Doom, you're supposed to give him that kind of, you know, the kind of dialogue I give Lord Zed. It's kind of that sort of, you know, that sort of villain level, I think.
Exactly.
I first got introduced to how threatening Doom can be when I played the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance game.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Classic.
When he enslaved all the heroes, I was like, this is a guy you do not want to mess.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Doom is one of those characters that's absolutely iconic in Marvel, and so it's really cool that we get to see him so early in our series.
Yeah. It's very cool, especially since he is one of the bigger Marvel bad guys. It's him, it's Magneto, and like Kingpin, who's up there with the iconic Marvel bad guys.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing, MCU? Why are we getting all these Z-listers? We haven't got Doctor Doom. We acquired the rights. So many. I know there's some weird stuff with X-Men and the actors, but come on. What are we doing? Like, why are we doing all these Z-list characters and we've not done the Fantastic Four yet? Come on.
I'm paying attention to a lot of internal news that's going on there, and they're doing some major reshuffling that's needed over there.
Mhm.
Well, I hope so, because everything since Endgame other than Spider-Man has been extremely forgettable and mid.
And that's also partially because Kevin Feige and the heads of Marvel have been run too thin with how much they're putting
The
out.
shows have not been what they needed to be. I will say Guardians 3 was good. Spider-Man Far From Home was good. Everything else.
No Way Home?
No Way Home, I should say, sorry. But the rest of them, it's not been what it used to be. And the fact
Some of the MCU shows were decent, though.
Yes, they were, but a lot of them were unfortunately forgettable, and a lot of the later ones have not been very good. The last few ones, apart from Loki, obviously.
I will say, I genuinely enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier for what it was trying to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Oh, Mitch, did you even mention why we were premiering today?
Well, I mean, we're premiering today because one, I like having whole figures for my downloads. So like, way it was going to be originally, it was going to be like November 20th or something, and I was just like, if we're waiting that long, we might as well just let me see an actual whole month and not the last 10 days of November.
And also, it's your birthday today.
But also, it's my birthday.
Oh.
Hey!
Happy birthday!
Thank you,
So
guys. Yes.
it was cool that it ended up working out this way.
Yeah. And so I took the day off from work. I've done very little of anything other than prepare for this and everything. So it's been a good birthday, and having this show that we've all worked so hard on and had it postponed beyond the original time frame, which was supposed to go out with the 60th anniversary of the first Avengers back in September.
Yeah, but the Union
I'm-
happened.
But-
Yeah.
we still got it out the same year. Like we
got it
there
out,
was-
yes.
There was a point.
Yeah. That's
There
the
was
big
a
thing. That's the big
point.
thing. The same year.
A couple of months
Exactly.
ago, where I was convinced that we weren't going to be releasing anything until 2024, and then all of a sudden in November it was like, oh crap, the strike's over. Shit, I haven't done as much work as I thought I was going to do. I've been holding stuff off, and all of a sudden I was like, oh no, I've got all this stuff that people are expecting from me, and it's been a rush to get back on track now that I'm allowed to do things again.
Yeah, I spent the time working heavily writing episode 2 because I still wanted to. Even if we couldn't put out for the public, we could still put to the Patreon.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Oh yeah, this has been up for.
Yes.
This has been up since what, August for the patrons? Yeah.
I believe September.
Yeah, August and September. Everybody,
Yeah.
patrons will have to listen to it. Yeah.
So if you're a patron, you're like, oh, this is 4-month-old news. Why? What? But for the rest of everybody else,
Yeah.
let's see. Pizza King asks a very important question: are the X-Men voice actors for Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch going to join the drama? Right as of right now, that is the intention. But as that, I have not. Introducing them is a season 2 problem, which is 2024 Mitch problem.
Also,
I have
I
not.
am in contact with the actress, or the actor who played Wanda, because she also plays Moira in X-Men.
Okay.
I still have her contact details. However, the guy who played Quicksilver, I've long since lost his contact details, so he would have to be recast, I think, at this point.
Okay, unless he hears about this.
Yes, if you're
you
out
can-
there, I believe his name
Yeah.
is Nathan. It's been so long.
another
It's
Nathan.
it's been 10
Right.
years, but if you're out there
Right.
and you want to be back on the show, hit me up.
Yes. So the idea is that right now they're the placeholders, and when I come up to the time where I need to start figuring that out, will be when I've determined if they need to be recast or not.
Is Vision going to be introduced the same time that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are going to join?
He is a season 2 possibility, is all
Yeah.
I'm going to say. I mean, characters that are going to be in season 2 are going to be Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver. You're going to get a smattering of all the original Avengers as well. And also, possibilities are going to be Black Panther, Vision, and a couple others just throughout.
Mockingbird?
I don't know.
What? No swordsman?
Oh my god, Swordsman. I read those 2 issues, and first off, his team up with the Mandarin is just oh god, I don't want to touch the Mandarin problem with a 10-foot pole. Okay,
If you ever do the Mandarin, do what they did in the Shang-Chi movie. That was excellent.
right. Yes, absolutely. I can't do what Marvel did because what Marvel did is racist. There's no going back on that at this point.
It sort of allude to what the movie did a little bit.
Yeah, I can probably I'd have to rewatch Shang-Chi. It's been a hot minute. But yes, I could do something like that. But again, the swordsman and all of that. And they reuse the someone joins the Avengers and then betrays them from the inside over and over and over again. So I'm saving that for the Wonder Man betrayal in season 1 here. So I don't want to just go back to that rehashing again and again. So I'm playing with some ideas. A lot of stuff is up in the air.
Yeah, and I'm curious, what about Carol Danvers when she's Miss Marvel and Tigra?
Absolutely no plans for Tigra because I didn't even think about her. As for Miss Marvel, I had a planned episode that introduced OG Captain Marvel and Carol and showed her getting her powers as a setup for what Carl does when he introduced Rogue in
Okay.
stripping her powers. So I have a plan. I don't think I'm getting to it in this season. It'll probably be a next season issue.
Right.
And just because I feel bad for forgetting the name, Isabel Wolf is the one person who played Scarlet Witch in the original show. When I've still got her contact details because she plays Moira, or she has done.
Fantastic. No, that would be awesome to have her come in and voice the Scarlet Witch again. But yeah, and then if the original voice actor for Quicksilver hears about this going on, hit us up. I'd be happy to have you come on.
I have the IMDb up. Let me see. It's the IMDb that Declan made, which means it's not been updated since season 3 started. But he's got all the old credits here. Carry on talking about it. Just have a look.
Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Any other questions I may have missed? Guardians
Actually,
3.
I actually have one for you, Mitch.
Yes.
Without giving anything away, what exactly do you plan to do with Sam Wilson's Falcon?
I can't give anything away because I don't have anything yet.
He's a down the road character, and he's not yet coming around yet.
Yes.
He's 70s, right? So that would be season 2.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's his introduction. He doesn't get he doesn't get put into the Avengers until like later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the 80s.
Right.
Something.
yeah.
Right. But again, I remember seeing his original costume and that he had like Red Wing as an actual Falcon, and I actually prefer having Red Wing as like this mechanical drone instead of an actual bird because that's animal endangerment right there.
Well, it's kind of similar as like having Jarvis be the AI. It's like some things from the movies make a lot more sense rather than
Yeah.
Especially-
I think some of it was just kind of how they revealed the comic book Falcon's powers of being able to telepathically talk to birds. It has never really been cemented as is he a mutant? Is he a mutate? So they didn't really want to touch it, and again, the more technical aspects of it just make it a lot more sensible overall.
It makes him feel more realistic in that he's just a guy with a suit, with that has bird wings attached to him.
Yes, precisely.
So I've looked it up. Nathan Dunford was the original actor for Quicksilver. Again, apologise for getting names. It's been 10 years. But yeah, Nathan Dunford was the original Quicksilver back in season 1. So Nathan, if you're out there, or Yeah.
Yeah, you can hit us up at AvengerAudioDrama@gmail.com, or you can find the Discord, I believe, or whatever, or just hit Carl up.
Yeah. Twitter's probably the easiest way. Or X, I'm sorry.
Whatever. Elon Musk is an idiot. There we go.
I just imagine me and Oscar making this joke on Monday. Xavier's like, I've come out with a new social media platform. It's called X. Like, sorry, Professor Elon Musk, sorry to beat us to it. They own the copyright.
Is that something you actually want to do?
No.
No. Otherwise, I don't have any more questions I can see from the chat here.
Questions in people who are here, just hit them in. Yeah. Any last minute questions, anything we've answered. Episode 2 is currently being edited. Joey's working on that. In terms of other stuff on the network, I'm currently editing East Haven 8.2. Apologies, that's been so long on that one. Again, the strike ended and it was like, oh crap! I can really. People are waiting on Power Rangers and all sorts of other stuff. So I'm editing that at the minute. And then today, This is the one that everybody really wants to know about. Today I've got the last of the lines for X-Men Season 1, Season 4, Episode 1. So that will be coming within the next couple of weeks. In time for Christmas, X-Men will come back for the
Hell
Duel,
yeah.
which is the
Nice.
All
it's going
right.
to be the episode where Cyclops and Storm fight for the leadership of the X-Men.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
Mm.
I don't like Scott's chances.
Well, let's not forget, Storm does not have her powers anymore.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, I was gonna say because it's like Weather God versus guy with laser eyes.
Yeah, Storm is just a regular human at this point in the comics. So.
Yeah. So it's going to be a battle of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
And yet she still managed to kick his butt, like in the comics, because he loses the leadership of the X-Men. So
Spoilers for comics that came out before we were all born.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just now like really curious to know what the Summers family storyline is going to be like with the allusion to Cable and the now that Rachel's introduction. I'm curious to see what.
Speaking of Cable, he may kind of, sort of, maybe make his first appearance in this next episode. Sort of. If you know, you know.
Okay.
Okay, well, my point being is that I'm really curious to see how you're going to interpret Scott building himself up into becoming an actual father.
Well, that's one thing that is definitely touched on in this episode. In terms of, like, anybody who knows the original comic that I adapted, that's a big part of the story of the reason that Scott even has the duel with Storm in the first place is Madeline does not want him to be back with the X-Men. So that whole thing's touched on. I'm going to try and make Scott not so much of a prick in my version.
Whoa.
Because,
Hey,
in the original comics, Jean comes back and he's like, Madeline who? Bye, bitch! And
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to do that. So...
ever since the season 3 finale, I've just been waiting for Scott and Rachel to have that father-daughter conversation.
yeah, so she. But Scott does not want to have it. Yeah, a lot of that'll be touched on. And then Tom Lee, who was a voice in this episode, and has been the voice of a few things. He's working on the script for Mutant Massacre, which will be episodes 2 and 3.
Ooh.
So,
Mm.
which, is the introduction of Oscar as a new character who may be his avatar right now. Who was, for people who know, he was revealed to be the person behind it, even though in the comics he didn't actually appear for like another 5 years. But
Right.
Yeah. Well, he had other shit to do. Planning this shit out takes time, okay?
Yeah.
I see a question from Pizza King here. How long do we have to wait for episode 2? I was originally hoping for a Christmas release, but some last minute lines needed to be switched around, changed, and all kinds of stuff. So sorry. So, start of 2024, best as I can give you at this time.
Yeah, like bringing Joey in is gonna make it better quality, but obviously he's a busy dude as well. So.
Oh yeah. Joey is a very experienced voice actor. He does other stuff on the side in regards to audio and creating people's demo reels. So that's his job. So he's got a bunch of things that he's got on his plate already, and it's very, very gracious of him to make the time to also do the audio engineering.
That's why I
for
was
this
so
show.
surprised when he said I volunteered. I was like, wow, I didn't know you had the time. Cool.
Joey is the Chris Sabat of our group, I would say, of the Scyther audio universe.
It is funny
Right.
that it's funny that in 2 of the 3 flagship shows, he's going to be the leader of the teams.
He's got that voice,
Yeah.
that
Oh,
that
yeah.
low,
Well,
that low.
He was
leader.
talking to me about originally you guys were going to go for way more of it, like kind of what you did with Loki, a much more authentic Brooklyn accent.
Yes.
It was kind of realised that why that's more authentic. It wouldn't be great if Captain America was like, "Hey, yo, I'm Captain America."
Yeah.
He's just Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Rage.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about Joey in that Yu-Gi-Oh! Joey, but damn, yeah.
Oh,
I'm from
It
the
was-
shield.
it was pointed out that he shouldn't sound like he knows the mafia on first name basis.
No, he
So-
Captain America is one of it's kind of like the example I always use is Magneto and Xavier. In my show, does it make sense that they're British? Probably not. But Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen have changed those voices forever, and that's just how they're supposed to sound now.
Yeah.
So you know,
it's just like when the Chris Evans line. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
yes. Like if Magneto turned up in a Polish accent, people would be like, what's this?
Oh gosh, or Yiddish.
Yeah.
Oi.
Why you got Walt?
Yeah. So, I mean, Joey has a natural, where he grew up, or so he's just bringing his natural voice to Cap, and it works. Like he does several lines that just give me chills. I'm not going to spoil any more for you guys.
Does he say
but
Avengers Assemble? Or
I'm not spoiling anything for anybody. But there are lines that Joey gives that are just like, this is an Avengers show. Like it steps it up to the next level.
when MMPR is done very shortly, I'm going to make a supercut of Joey saying it's morphing time. Because I realised that this last episode, it's got to be in the hundreds at this point. I've had him say that line.
Yeah, it's gonna be up there with
Gene.
yeah,
Young
exactly.
Gene, yeah. every time I hit Omri back up for X-Men, he's like, okay, how many times do I have to say Gene in this episode?
It's the Scyther audio drama drinking game.
Yeah.
Take a shot every time.
Although lately, the last season, I've been like, it's fine, she's dead, you don't have to bring her up. You know, what happens in the
He
future?
naturally starts his recording with G.
Yeah, that's how he gets into character. Yeah.
Going back to your short clip of Joey continuing saying this one more time. I was just now thinking about that one episode of Zio where he did it in song.
Yes.
Are you gonna have him do that?
Oh god. If I ain't doing Pumpkin Rapper, I'm not doing a musical episode. Although
You mean you haven't done Pumpkin Rapper yet?
No.
You should do it.
It has been suggested I could do Pumpkin Rapper as like a gang boss and that just raps, and then, like that would be something, but yeah.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Well, I have a couple of things I got to get to. I gotta go pick up the kids and all that stuff. So, do we have any final thoughts? Any last questions from anybody? I'm an open book to a certain degree.
So how's your sex life? No.
Who invited Tommy Wiseau?
Make sure he doesn't have any spoons on him.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mark.
So I will say this: my only the episode was great. My only feedback, just suggestion from me: more music, more music.
Oh yeah. Okay. More music.
Royalty free is fantastic. Or if you AJ, who's doing the new music for X-Men Season 4, is fantastic. If you want to hear him up, he's on the Discord, so he's always fantastic, and he says he hates the music as well and stuff. So
Okay. I mean, I pulled some stuff I could find off of Free Sound. That sounded, cool or whatever.
Yeah. The best one to look for that I use for X-Men and Power Rangers is David Falazian. Like you get struck on YouTube as long as you credit him. It's It's all free use.
Right. And finding Nal Stenson, who had done
Yes.
all of the
Mm.
Marvel stuff, was just like cha-ching.
Absolutely.
And as long as I credit him in everything, we're good to go. So.
I had a bit of a drama recently with that thing, which I spoke about that on the Patreon, but I won't talk about it on air here with using somebody's music. Yeah.
Mm. Well, the Thing will definitely be doing
He's got that
Thing
accent.
stuff.
Yeah, he's got that accent definitely.
But anyway, so I think this has been fun. I really hope everyone has enjoyed the episode, and tell your friends about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
yeah,
I can
think-
say I was looking at the analytics before I came on here. It is the view wise, it's the best debut in the first couple of hours of any of our videos recently.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
heck yeah,
top
heck
views,
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. I think that's it for me. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Carl. And
Yep, so folks, you can catch Avengers the Audio Drama not only here, but he's also on, you can find it wherever podcasts are held. It's currently on Spotify, it'll eventually be on Apple Podcasts. Just Google it on your, or search for it on your podcasts, and you'll find it.
yes.
All right, catch you later.